Hey guys, your favorite Romanian here. I wanted to welcome you once again to True Scary Stories from Reddit. Today we have Creeps on the Beach, a terrifying story from Canberra, and two more special treats this evening. Now, before you begin, I would like to thank the small but significant amount of people who turned into my very first video. You do not know how much it means to me to feel I have, albeit a small portion, of viewers coming in to just listen to a small boy in his dream on YouTube. But let's shut me up, and let's give you your daily dose of horror. A frustrated peeping Tom entered my home. Submitted by Wisnier. Hey all, this is my first post on Reddit, much like a lot of posters on Let's Not Meet. I've lurked and decided perhaps my story was worthy of submission, so here it goes. This took place in November of 2007 during my junior year of high school in my hometown. I lived in a small, Midwestern city that, in all honesty, seemed completely safe. One night, my two friends and I were hanging out in my house in the living room. We stopped by my house after we had gone to a local coffee shop, but we wanted to leave again to get late Jimmy John's. I'll try to paint a picture of my living room to the best of my abilities. The couch was against the front windows, there were three, and the curtains only slightly obscured two of them, facing our inactive fireplace. There was a small nook right next to the fireplace that held a large, plush, green chair. The chair faced the front windows and was directly next to the entertainment center. My house had two main entrances, the front door, which no one used and was perpetually blocked, and the side door, which was attached to the kitchen. The first floor of our house was basically one long hallway, each room leading to the other through large archways and no doors. On this night in particular, my friends and I decided to watch TV before heading out again. It was all around midnight. I was sitting in the green chair and my friends were laying on the couch facing me. I could tell the other two were falling asleep and decided I'd rest my eyes as well. A few moments later, my cat burst into the room, up the stairs. I didn't think of much of it since she was a skittish cat, so I shut my eyes once again. The next thing I know, I hear my friend whispering my name over and over. I turned my head towards her, and she was pointing in the direction of my dining room, which was between the living room and kitchen. From my point of view, I couldn't see the entrance to the dining room as I was tucked in the nook by my fireplace. My friend was persistent, and her voice grew louder and louder until I decided I couldn't avoid looking. I scooted up to the very edge of the seat, peered over, and holy shit. A man was standing there. He was scrawny and short and wore a ski mask, and that's it. This dude was completely and utterly naked, and he just stood there completely calm, taking turns staring at each of us. I could also see he was carrying a bundle under his arm. We all looked at each other for a few beats. My mind was racing. What the fuck was happening? Was this a joke? Should we charge him? What if he was carrying a gun or a knife? After those brief moments were over, we all started screaming. I don't know if I've ever screamed so loud in my fucking life. I took off towards the stairs, and as I reached them and looked back, I saw him calmly turn and walk back towards the dining room. We reached my parents' room, flung ourselves in, and barricaded the door. My parents, who were asleep before, woke up in a panic as we all started screaming about what had just taken place. The calmest of the three managed to call 911, and within 20 minutes, there were squad cars outside of our house. They took our individual statements and searched the property. One cop came back inside after searching our property and the surrounding neighborhood. He told us that there were distinct footprints in the snow directly in front of our living room windows. They surmised that he had been standing there for hours, trying to get our attention and, frustrated, entered our house after those failed attempts. We stupidly left the door unlocked because we assumed we'd be leaving soon after arriving. I honestly have no idea if they ever caught this man. When I was still living in my hometown, I would be at a random store and think I saw him because, well, honestly, I remember his goddamn eyes so well. They were completely devoid of any emotion. So, creepy, ski-masked, naked peeping Tom, let's not meet ever again. Oh, and always lock your damn doors. The Creep on the Beach, submitted by Alirion. For this I will be calling myself by the name Mia. When I was young, my parents divorced, and I lived with my dad and my grandparents. They were relatively wealthy, and lived opposite of a beach. During my life, I'd had a lot of experiences with the paranormal, but this isn't one of them. This story is completely not paranormal at all, just plain creepy. I was about 17 at the time. I am now currently 19. I had a group of friends. Let's call them Stella, Lily, Kara, James, Alex, Flynn, Hamish, and Dylan. We went out with our families for a huge picnic dinner out on the beach. It was the middle of summer, so we all wore swimmers, and I wore a black, high-necked lace bikini. Our parents all decided to go over to Kara and James's house, they are twins, because they ran out of booze, so they took the car and told us to stay over at my place for the night. We decided we wanted to take a dip in the beach pool and play soccer, so we didn't leave straight away. It was the summer holidays before year 12, so we all wanted to enjoy the beach before we went and studied the hell out of the next few months using the HCS. I live in Australia, and I don't know what's called in other countries. The beach was pretty chilled out with its rules, so we made a bonfire earlier and sat around and laughed and eating roasted marshmallows. We played soccer for a while. I was on a team with Alex, Stella, and Flynn. The other team was Kara, Lily, Hamish, and Dylan. James at the time had a broken arm and decided not to risk it, so he sat down and watched. I decided to take the goalie position because nobody else decided to do it, and we started playing. I wasn't very good at it, so the first goal scored was against us. The ball shot past my face and landed about 20 meters away from me. It landed at my feet of a family friend who worked at the bar. "Hey Toby!" I yelled in greeting as he kicked the ball to me. He waved and walked past us off the beach, telling us it was late and we should head home soon. Toby was a nice guy and we all liked him. He was a massive peacekeeper. It made me look like a dwarf. At this time, it didn't strike me as weird that he was walking in the direction of his house, but later I realized the bar was supposed to be open for another hour or two, and he never left before then. We continued our game. Our team ended up losing by the time we decided to jump in the pool for a while, and then pack up and head back to my place. It was too dark to swim in the ocean, and we knew it wasn't a good idea to swim in it all night. We all jumped in and played a silly game of Marco Polo before Hamish yelled something and pointed down the beach. We all turned to see what he was pointing at. "Oi!" Hamish yelled. There was a man standing at the bonfire poking around in one of our bags. James and Hamish bolted out of the pool and sprinted down the beach. I don't think I've ever seen anyone run as fast as that guy did, but he legged it out of there. We followed the two boys and decided to back up. Stella and I took the rubbish out of the bins by the toilets and out of view of the others. Stella at the time was my girlfriend. We are both girls and we are still going out. And I hadn't told any of the guys about it. Stella was about a foot taller than me and I looked like a living goddess. Because I am a bit of a germaphobe, I went into the toilets and washed my hands. Stella followed me and sneakily hugged me from behind, which scared the hell out of me for a moment. I laughed and she kissed me on the neck. "Come on," I said, trying to walk. "The others probably think we're dead or something." We left the bathroom and turned the corner. Next thing I know, a brick slammed against the wall, just missing Stella's head. We both screamed and ran down the beach towards the others. They all looked alarmed, and we left pretty quickly after that, and we explained what happened. The beach was surrounded by thick branches and trees, so there was only a main entry and exit we could walk up. Kara stopped dead in front of us. Because I was shorter than her, I couldn't see what she was looking at. Hamish barged past us and yelled at whatever was there. "Hey, you fucking creep," he spat. "Did you just throw a brick at our friend?" There was no response. I could see the figure if I leaned on the railing restricted us from going into the bushes. It was the same guy who was poking around in our stuff. He didn't budge. "Get lost," I yelled, followed by similar comments from the others behind me. Stella grabbed my hand from behind and held it to hers. The guy turned toward the railing and jumped over it from the bushes. He ran off. "What a weirdo," James said when we kept walking. Occurrences like this were unusual for the area, so we were all freaked, but we didn't think much more of it. We stopped by the 7-Eleven, a few hundred meters away from the house, and we got some ice creams. Kara and Hamish went inside while the rest of us sat on the curb and talked about our plans for the following day. Then I saw him again. He was in the parking lot by the beach, poking his head out from behind a tree. I could just see him because there was a streetlight about 5 or so meters away from him. "Hey, look," I said in an almost mocking tone. "It's that weirdo again." The others all looked. We all uneasily laughed as he saw what we were looking at him and moved out of sight. When we finished our ice cream, we started to make the 3 or so 100-meter walk up to my house. There wasn't much of a walk, but the guys all ran ahead of us, kicking the ball around. All of a sudden, something grabbed my bum and I screamed at the top of my lungs. Instinctively, I turned and kicked, landing it on a guy's inner thigh. It was the same guy. He was huge, about 6'5", wearing massive black combat boots and a coat even though it was super hot out. He wore a beanie too, so I couldn't see his hair. "Hello, Mia," he said in a creepy, slightly English accented voice. He sounded like the kind of guy who would do voice acting on a kid's show or an educational video like, "What animal is this?" or some bullshit. Kara and Lily backed up behind me, and Stella stayed by my side. I may have been scared shitless, but I did martial arts and would at least be able to bide some time for the others. "What the fuck do you want?" I asked, realizing the boys were too far away and were probably at my house by now. He pulled a small white card from his pocket and dangled it in front of my face. "You left this at the beach, Mia." He smiled as I realized it was my driver's license. "Hey!" I yelled, trying to snatch it off him. Luckily, the sharp whoop of a police vehicle sounded from down the road behind us. We and the man sprinted in opposite directions. We didn't stop running until we got to my house. We ran around frantically locking all of the doors and explained everything to the boys. "We should go to your room," Dylan suggested as we bolted up the stairs and into my room. I looked through my window. There he was, standing there with a stupid grin on his face. "He's looking outside the fucking window," I whispered in a hissing tone. The others all dropped to the ground and peered out to look. "That is fucking terrifying," Stella cursed, sitting on the floor next to me. "Does anyone have a phone?" Hamish asked. All of us shook our heads. Kara looked over again at the guy. "Maya, it's moving," she warned. I stuck my head over, and sure enough, he was standing at my old play set out inside the yard. Hamish crawled around the room and ran at the speed of lightning down the stairs. Stella turned to me and said, "We need to keep looking for that guy. We need to go full weeping angel mode on him." We both poked out heads again. We had moved again. We now stood with his head just in view over the porch area. We all looked. Sure enough, he didn't move until we heard sounds. Then he ran. I thought it was all over until a few weeks after that. I was home alone and heard a knock on the door. It was Sunday and I was studying in my room. I knew I shouldn't answer, so I didn't for a few minutes and then slowly walked downstairs. There was a letter pushed up beneath the door. It was addressed to me. It was a letter and a group of photos sent from him. The letter went something along the lines of, "Hello, Mia. Do you still have that little black bikini? It looks so good on you. I took some photos of you too. When you were alone, you were just so cute, aren't you? We should meet, get to know each other. Without the people you were there with last time. I love you, Maya. What are you? What I want? Be mine, please. Signed, Jack." The photos were all of me in my bedroom and outside. Some were of me naked when I was getting changed after a shower. I freaked out. My parents immediately gave the note to the police and the guy was tracked down. He was let out though. I've never seen him again to this day. Creepy guy from the beach, let's not meet again, and stay the hell from me and my girlfriend. Almost kidnapped by same person. Submitted by Unknown Wren. Quick disclaimer. This story isn't anything paranormal like my usual stories, but I thought I'd share because this was crazy. So this happened in my sophomore year of high school. I live in a pretty bad neighborhood, but since I've lived there all my life, I know everyone about here. Even the drug dealers and thugs. They watch out for me since my mom used to be in a car gang. Where I live, we have trolleys, so I would have to take a specific trolley to get home. Where I get off is probably known as one of the worst areas, but as I've said before, it's around the corner from my house, so I don't have any worries. I usually cut through this alley as a shortcut. Here's where it starts. I was walking toward the alley and a red Honda pulled up beside me. There were 3 men in the car. 1 was driving and 2 were in the back. He opened the passenger's door and said, "Hey cutie, want to take a ride with us?" I didn't respond because my mother always taught me not to respond to things like that. I walked into the alley and heard the man say, "Get her." I heard more car doors open and presumed it was the men in the back. I ran as fast as I could down the alley because it leads to my street. I didn't look back until I got to my door. About a week passes and I didn't see the car or the men, but I clearly remembered their faces. As usual, I was walking home from the trolley, headed to the alley. You'd think I would have learned my lesson from walking the alley alone, but no, I didn't. While I'm walking, I see a parked red Honda. I didn't see anyone in it, and it wasn't on, so I didn't think anything of it until I feel someone grab my arm. I screamed as loud as I could. It was the same guy, and the other 2 were hiding in a crevice of a wall. I bit his arm, he let go, and I ran. This time, I told my mom, and she was furious. We filed a report, but the men were never found. Every time I see a red Honda, I get anxious. Woo! Got a little rickety there. I apologize. But this segment's not really that scripted, like my intro. But if you made it this far, you hear this, I thank you a lot for listening, and any grammatical errors I make, I apologize. Sometimes some of these phrases aren't put correctly, and I have a small issue getting to them. But I promise I will iron those out. I will get so much better, and I hope you appreciate some of the changes. I'm trying to upload daily. Usually it takes about 2 to 3 hours for me in total to get these out. That's not even considering uploading. But I do just greatly appreciate all the support I've been given, even though, I suck and I'm not good by any means. I'm not good like the larger people or, anything like that. But, if you enjoyed it, please leave a comment telling me you enjoyed it. Maybe subscribe, leave a thumbs up. I hope wherever you are, day or night, rain or shine, that you're having a splendid day. Make sure you hang out with your family, your friends. Make sure you tell everyone you love them every day. And you will see me next time.